there, and welcome to Hypersleep Voyager. Tonight, we invite you to drift far beyond the clouds, into a vast and hidden realm that surrounds us all. When we look up at the night sky, it seems so still. But beneath that peaceful surface, an unseen force hums, a power that never rests. It is a tireless current stretching the very fabric of space while we sleep. It seems like nothing at all. Yet, this empty space holds an ancient mystery, a ghostly energy that has been pushing the galaxies apart since the dawn of time. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into the unknown, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, just settle in, let the weight of the day drift away. Allow your eyes to grow heavy and find your peace in the silence. Let's begin. The universe is expanding at an accelerating rate. This is the first truth of our time. It happens in the deep void. It happens in the space between the stars. Imagine the air in your room. Imagine the distance between your eyes and the screen. It is not static. It stretches. An invisible hand pushes the fabric of the night. It does not tear. It only widens. The galaxies drift further apart. They move like ships on a calm ocean. There is no resistance. There is only the gentle opening of space. Everything breathes out. The cosmos creates more room for itself. It is a slow and heavy motion. It is a silent growth. It is a reminder that even the vastness of the sky needs more space to rest, just as your mind expands into the quiet of sleep. Empty space contains a constant density of energy. We call this dark energy. It is not a substance you can hold. It is a property of space itself. Remove every star. Remove every atom. Remove every particle of light. The box is not empty. The emptiness has weight. It presses against the walls of reality. It is present in the corners of your room. It is present in the silence between your thoughts. The void is not a lack of things. It is a fullness. It is a quiet hum that never ceases. This energy waits in the background. It supports the structure of the night. It is the canvas that holds the paint. In this sense, we see that you are never truly alone in the dark, for the darkness itself is alive with a genuine, constant presence. Dark energy makes up approximately 68% of the universe. The matter we see is rare. The stars are rare. The planets are rare. Even the clouds of gas are a small fraction. Most of reality is this invisible ocean. Look at your hand. Look at the objects on your table. They are the exception. They are tiny islands. The rest is the deep water. The universe is mostly made of silence. It is mostly made of the unseen. We live in a thin layer of light. Below us lies the heavy foundation. It surrounds us. It holds the galaxies in its grip. It is the vast majority of existence. It determines the fate of all things. You could say that we are small passengers floating on a tide that is much older and much stronger than stone or bone. Continued acceleration will eventually cause a heat death of the universe. This is not a chaotic end. It is a slow cooling. The stars will burn out. The galaxies will drift beyond the horizon. The light will fade. The universe becomes a quiet room. The temperature drops. Movement ceases. Everything settles into a final state of rest. It is like a candle flickering out. It is like a clock winding down. The energy spreads out until it is perfectly smooth. There is no more struggle. There is no more change. The cosmos enters a long winter. It sleeps forever. The noise of creation fades into memory. The scattered dust stops drifting. This reveals that the ultimate destiny of all things is peace, a final and absolute stillness where nothing disturbs the eternal night. Physicists do not yet know the origin of dark energy. The source remains hidden. We measure its effects. We map its growth, but the cause is veiled. It is a secret kept by the sky. This ignorance is not frightening. It is like looking into a deep pond. You cannot see the bottom. You only see the reflection of the moon. The universe holds its mysteries close. It does not explain itself. It simply is. We build our theories. We write our equations. Yet the core truth remains silent. It's just beyond our reach. It rests in the shadows. We are allowed to not know. We are allowed to wonder. It is a reminder that there is comfort in the unknown and that we can rest peacefully without understanding every whisper of the dark. Albert Einstein introduced the cosmological constant to describe a static universe. He needed a mathematical balance. Gravity pulls things together. It wants to close the door. It wants to shrink the room. The constant pushes back. It holds the walls apart. Imagine a heavy stone keeping a gate open. It sits silently on the ground. It resists the weight of the iron. This force does not move. It creates a pause. The universe leans against it. The stars do not fall inward. They hang in suspension. The tension is perfect. The balance is exact. It prevents the collapse. It maintains the shape of the dark. In this sense, we see that stability is often maintained by an invisible strength, a quiet resistance that keeps the roof of the world from falling in. Theoretical models suggest a future scenario known as the Big Rip. Expansion becomes too strong. It overcomes gravity. It overcomes the force between atoms. Imagine a piece of woven cloth. Hands pull it gently from all sides. The threads begin to loosen. The fabric relaxes. The gaps widen. Eventually, the knot unties. The structure dissolves. Matter separates into dust. The space between molecules grows infinite. Nothing touches anything else. There is no friction. There is no collision. Everything floats in absolute isolation. The bonds of the world release their grip. The tension is gone. The struggle to hold together ends. You could say that this is the ultimate form of freedom, where every particle finds its own quiet corner in the endless library of the night. Dark energy acts in direct opposition to gravitational attraction. Gravity wants to gather. It pulls the blanket tight around the sleeper. It creates clusters. It forms the sun. Dark energy wants to scatter. It smooths the sheet. It pushes the edges away. These two forces wrestle in the silence. Gravity rules the small things. It holds your feet to the floor. It keeps the atmosphere near the ground. Dark energy rules the vast things. It governs the deep void. It widens the path between galaxies. One force brings closeness. The other brings distance, and they exist together. They shape the rhythm of the cosmos. It is a reminder that existence requires both the comfort of being held and the vast, open freedom to drift away. Quintessence is a proposed form of dark energy that changes over time. It is not a fixed stone. It is a fluid. Think of the water level in a quiet lake. It rises slowly. The pressure shifts with the seasons. This energy evolves. It breathes in time with the universe. Sometimes it pushes harder. Sometimes it rests. It flows through the empty spaces like a draft in an old house. You cannot see the wind, you only feel the cool air on your skin. The field permeates everything. It is a shifting background. It adapts to the age of the stars. It is never truly still. This reveals that even the foundation of reality is not rigid, but flows like a slow river toward an unknown sea. The specific density of dark energy implies that the universe is geometrically flat. Two parallel beams of light will never meet. They travel straight forever. Imagine a smooth, dark table. It extends beyond the horizon. There are no hills. There are no valleys. The surface is perfectly level. Dark energy irons out the wrinkles of space. It keeps the fabric taut. It ensures the path is simple. We move forward without bending. We do not circle back. The road goes on without end. It is a vast plain. It is an endless floor. The architecture of the night is balanced. It is calm. In this sense, we see that the cosmos is built upon a profound simplicity, a flattened open stage where the drama of existence can quietly unfold. Theoretical calculations predict a vacuum energy far greater than what we observe. The numbers are incredibly large. The math adjusts in intense force. If these equations were fully realized, the room would tear apart. The atoms would dissolve instantly, but they do not. The universe remains gentle. The actual energy is small. Somewhere deep in the quantum foam, a cancellation occurs. Great forces oppose each other. They balance perfectly. They neutralize the noise. They leave only a faint trace behind. The turbulence is hidden. The intensity is contained. The result is a calm night. You could say that peace is simply the result of powerful forces holding each other in check, allowing us to sleep safely in the middle. Astronomers detected the acceleration by observing Type 1a supernovae. These exploding stars act as standard candles. They burn with a known brightness. Think of streetlight lining along a dark highway. We look into the distance. The lights appear fainter than they should, and they are further away than expected. The road is stretching. The asphalt lengthens between the posts. The light struggles to reach our eyes. It travels across a widening gap. The message is ancient. It tells us the history of the expansion. We read the faint glow. We measure the fading pulse. The beacons are drifting. It is a reminder that even as things drift apart, the light from the past still reaches us, guiding our understanding through the deepening void. Dark energy exerts its greatest influence in the cosmic voids. These are the vast spaces between galaxies. Gravity lives in the cities of stars. Dark energy lives in the empty fields. Imagine a desert between the distant towns. There's no one there. There's only the wind. There's only the horizon. This is where the expansion is strongest. The desert grows. The distance widens. The silence deepens. The nothingness exerts its power. It pushes the towns further apart without touching them. The void claims the territory. It is the ruler of the blank page. This reveals that emptiness is not merely an absence, but a powerful force that shapes the boundaries of where we cannot go. Dark energy and dark matter currently exist in nearly equal amounts. This is a rare alignment in time. In the distant past, matter was dominant. It was heavy and thick. In the distant future, energy will rule. It will be vast and thin. We live in the brief overlap. It is a moment of perfect balance. Imagine a scale sitting on a table. The weights on both sides are identical. The beam is level. It does not tip. The room is still. The forces are locked in a quiet embrace. The dense matter holds the ground. The expanding energy holds the sky. They stand equal. The clock pauses between ticks. The transition is slow. We exist in the twilight between the age of form and the age of void. It is a reminder that we are living in a special and fleeting quiet, a momentary harmony of great forces that allows us to witness the sky before it changes forever. The universe began accelerating approximately 5 billion years ago. Before this time, gravity was the stronger force. It acted like a brake. It slowed the expansion. The cosmos was dense with dust. Then the matter spread out. The density dropped. The brake was released. The engine of the void took over. It was a silent shift. No alarm rang. The motion simply changed. It is like a car reaching the top of a hill. It begins to roll down the other side. The effort stops. The speed increases without work. The universe relaxed into a new rhythm. It surrendered to the push of the dark. The struggle against gravity ended. The coasting began. The path forward became clear and open. In this sense, we see that letting go is often a natural part of growth, a shift from struggle to a smooth and effortless drift into the future. Dark energy creates a negative pressure within the vacuum. Normal pressure pushes outward like air in a balloon. Negative pressure creates tension like a stretched rubber band. But in the geometry of space, this tension creates repulsion. It drives the walls apart. Imagine it, Outram skin. The surface is tight. It hums with potential. The tension is invisible. It does not snap. It holds the structure together while pushing the boundaries away. It works in the silence of the room. It is a pulling that results in pushing. It is a contraction that creates vastness. The emptiness is active. It is doing work. It creates more of itself. The void pulls the universe open. You could say that the tension we feel is often what creates the space we need, stretching the boundaries of our world to make room for something new. The accelerating expansion creates a cosmic event horizon. There's a limit to what we can see. Light from distant galaxies tries to reach us. The space grows too fast. The light acts like a swimmer against a strong current. It falls behind. The galaxy fades. It crosses the line of no return. It slips into the absolute dark. The observable universe shrinks in relative terms. The number of visible stars decreases. We are slowly becoming isolated. The room gets quieter. The distant voices stop. The horizon draws a curtain around us. We are left with our local group. The rest of the cosmos disappears. It becomes a memory. The few becomes simple. This reveals that there is a sanctity in our immediate surroundings, a focus on what is close and tangible while the rest of the world fades into a peaceful silence. Sound waves from the early universe left an imprint on the distribution of galaxies. We call these baryon acoustic oscillations. Long ago, the universe was a hot fluid. It rang like a bell. Ripples moved through the deep plasma. These ripples froze when the universe cooled. They left circles in the sky. We see them in the maps of galaxy clusters. They act as a ruler. They measure the size of the dark. The sound is gone. The echo remains. It is a frozen vibration. It is a memory written in the placement of the stars. The rhythm of the beginning is still here. It is locked in the dust. The pattern is vast and silent. It is a reminder that the songs of the past never truly vanish, but remain etched in the structure of the present. holding us in a rhythm that began before we were born. Some physicists propose that gravity itself changes at large scales. Perhaps there is no dark energy. Perhaps the laws of weight are different in the deep void. On Earth, gravity is a constant grip. It holds you to the chair. In the vast empty spaces, it might loosen. It might behave differently when it is alone. We assume the rules are the same everywhere. Maybe the sky has its own law. The equations might soften at the edge of the map. The heavy hand of the earth might lift. The grip fades. The stars wander freely. The universe behaves not like a rigid machine, but like a living thing that changes its mood. In this sense, we see that rules may bend in the vastness of open space, allowing for a freedom that exists only when we are far from the weight of expectations. A slightly larger amount of dark energy would have prevented the formation of galaxies. If the push was stronger, matter would never have gathered. The dust would have scattered too fast. No stars would burn. No planets would form. The universe would be a thin mist. It would be dark and cold. If the push was weaker, gravity would have won too soon. The universe would have collapsed back into a point. We exist on a fine edge. The value is precise. The tuning is exact. It allowed the dust to settle. It allowed the quiet structures to build. We are here because the expansion waited. The void gave us time. You could say that our existence is the result of a gentle patience, a pause in the chaos that allowed the delicate structures of life to find a safe place to rest. The spaces between galaxy filaments are growing larger. The universe is a web. The threads are made of light. The gaps are made of dark. The gaps are winning. The threads stretch thin. The voids become spherical. They push against the strands. It is like bubbles rising in dark water. They expand and merge. The structure becomes mostly empty space. The matter is pushed to the thin boundaries. The middle is hollow. It is calm there. There is no heat. There is no noise. The vast majority of the cosmos is this growing quiet. The substance is retreating to the edges. The emptiness claims the center. This reveals that the solid world is merely a frame for the emptiness, defining the shape of the silence that rests peacefully at the center of all things. Photons gain energy when passing through fast gravitational voids. This is known as the integrated Sachs-Wolf effect. Imagine a traveler walking across a rolling valley. The path is not solid. It moves beneath your feet. Gravity creates deep wells in the fabric of space. Dark energy stretches them out. It makes the wells shallow. A particle of light falls into a valley. It climbs back out. But the climb is easier than the fall. The ground has risen. The light keeps the extra energy. It arrives slightly warmer than before. It carries a secret heat from the empty space. It touches your skin with a ghostly warmth. The journey leaves a mark. The void is not passive. It interacts with the messenger. It is a reminder that even when we pass through empty places, the experience changes us, leaving a subtle warmth that remains long after the journey is done. Two metal plates placed close together in a vacuum are pushed toward each other. This is the Casimir effect. It proves the emptiness has power. Imagine two ships floating on a still lake. The water between them is calm. The water outside is rough. The waves push the ships together. The space between the plates excludes certain waves of energy. The space outside contains them all. The pressure is higher on the outside. The silence inside is deeper. The plates drift closer. They want to touch. The void acts like a heavy blanket trapping around them. It squeezes gently. It holds them in a tight embrace. The invisible waves are doing work. The nothingness exerts a force. In this sense, we see that silence is not just an absence of noise, but a pressure that brings things closer together in the quiet of the night. Eventually, the expansion will carry all other galaxies beyond our view. The night sky will change. Today we see billions of lights. In the deep future, we will see only our own stars. The rest of the universe will vanish. Imagine standing in a field as the fog rolls in. The distant trees disappear. The horizon shrinks. The world becomes small and intimate. The light from outside can no longer reach us. We are wrapped in a cocoon of solitude. The local gravity holds our home together. The dark energy washes the rest away. The noise of the cosmos fades. We are left with a simple quiet. The distraction of the infinite, we remain in our own safe harbor. You could say that this isolation is a form of protection, a closing of the curtains that allows us to, without the weight of the endless world watching. A scalar feel the signs of value to every point in space. It is like the temperature of the air in your room. It is everywhere at once. It does not have a direction. It simply exists. Dark energy may be such a field. It is a blanket spread evenly over the universe. It lies flat on the floor of reality. It touches every atom. It surrounds every planet. It is inside your lungs. It is outside the window. It does not flow like a river. It rests like a heavy mist. It is the background state of existence. It sets the baseline for the cosmos. It provides a constant level of energy. It never drains away. This reveals that we are always supported by a fundamental presence, an uniform field of energy that holds us safely within the fabric of the here and now. Dark matter builds structures, while dark energy dismantles them. This is the great cosmic architectural conflict. Dark matter is the stonemason. It stacks rocks. It builds walls. It gathers dust into piles. Dark energy is the wind. It erodes the edges. It scatters the sand. The galaxies are the fortresses. They hold their shape against the wind. Gravity binds them tight. The space between them belongs to the wind. The mason works on the islands. The wind rules the sea. The balance shifts over eons. The structures stand firm for now. They provide shelter. The wind blows softly around them. The erosion is slow. It is patient. It is a reminder that endurance is a quiet act of defiance, a way of holding together even when the invisible currents of the world try to drift us apart. Some theories suggest that dark energy could eventually decay. The push might stop. The expansion might reverse. The universe acts like a slow lung. It inhales for billions of years. The chest rises. The space opens up. Then the breath turns. The exhalation begins. The galaxies drift back together. The room shrinks. The light returns. The cold warms up. It is a cycle of waking and sleeping. The cosmos resets the clock. The energy transforms. The end becomes a new beginning. The rhythm is circular. Nothing is truly lost. The dust gathers again. The stars are born anew from the ashes. In this sense, we see that endings are merely pauses in a long rhythm, a moment of rest before the breath creates the world once again. The observed value of dark energy is infinitesimally small compared to theoretical predictions. This is often called the vacuum discrepancy. The math predicts a storm. Reality delivers a breeze. The potential energy of the void is vast, yet almost all of it is cancelled out. Only a tiny fraction remains. Imagine a dam holding back a massive ocean. A single drop leaks through. That drop is our universe. The rest of the power is held back. It is locked away behind the veil. The balance is delicate. The silence is engineered. The chaos is suppressed. We live in the quiet residue. We live in the calm leak. The intensity of the numbers does not touch us. We float in the gentle remnant. You could say that peace is often found in the small spaces, in the tiny fraction of calm that remains after the great forces have cancelled each other out. Phantom energy is a theoretical form of dark energy that grows stronger with time. It does not dilute, it multiplies. Imagine a sound that starts as a whisper. It slowly fills the room. It enters the walls. It eventually vibrates the stone apart. This energy feeds on space. The more space there is, the more power it has. It is a runaway process. It is a loop of growth. It pushes harder as the universe ages. It accelerates the timeline. The gentle drift becomes a swift current. The water moves faster. The destination approaches. The universe rushes toward its final state. The waiting ends. The stillness is broken by the speed of the expansion. This reveals that even in the deepest void, there is a hidden momentum, a quiet doctrine that propels us forward toward a final and absolute release. Dark energy appears to be perfectly smooth across space. It does not clump like matter. It does not form knots. Imagine a thick fog that covers a valley. It is the same everywhere. It fills the hollows. It covers the peaks. There are no edges. There are no breaks. Matter builds walls. It builds planets. Dark energy builds nothing. It is the canvas itself. It lies flat beneath the stars. It provides a level floor for the universe. It is consistent. It is reliable. It does not change from one room to another. It surrounds you with an even pressure. It holds the world in a gentle suspension. It is a reminder that beneath the complexities of life, there is a fundamental consistency, a smooth and even ground where we can always find our footing. The density of dark energy remains constant as space expands. Most things dilute when they spread out. Gas becomes thin, light becomes dim. Dark energy does not. Imagine a cup that never empties. You pour the water out. The level remains the same. The universe grows larger. The energy refills the gap instantly. It creates more of itself from nothing. The supply is endless. The void is self-sustaining. It does not run out. It does not get tired. The vast emptiness is rich with power. It creates a cushion that never wears thin. It supports the galaxies as they drift. It creates a bed that is always soft. In this sense, we see that emptiness is not a lack of resources, but a wellspring that continuously replenishes itself, offering infinite support for the journey ahead. The era of forming the largest cosmic structures is ending. Gravity can no longer pull distant matter together. The expansion is too fast. The clusters are frozen in time. Imagine a builder laying down his tools. The walls are finished. The roof is set. No new rooms will be added. The house is complete. The dust settles on the floor. The great gathering of mass is over. The universe accepts its shape. It stops struggling to grow larger. It stops trying to pull things inward. The architecture is set for eternity. The galaxies remain where they are. They drift in their final configuration. The busy work of creation slows down. This reveals that there is a time for building, and a time for resting, where we can simply inhabit the space we have made and be at peace. Receding galaxies can cross the cosmic horizon faster than light. They do not move through the space between us expands. It carries them away. Imagine a leaf on a fast river. The water moves swiftly. The leaf disappears around the bend, is gone from your sight. It travels into the unknown. The connection is broken. The light tries to swim back upstream. The current is too strong. The galaxy slips into the shadow. It enters the unobservable universe. It is beyond our reach. It is beyond our questions. The horizon protects it. The silence swallows the signal. It is a quiet departure. You could say that some things are meant to drift beyond our understanding, finding their own safety in the vast and hidden corners of the dark. Future observers will be unable to detect the expansion of the universe. The evidence will drift away. The distant galaxies will be gone. The sky will be dark. Imagine waking up in a quiet room with no windows. You do not know what lies outside. You assume the room is the whole world. The future astronomers will see only stillness. They will think the universe is static. They will think it is eternal. The history of the Big Bang will be erased. The intensity of the beginning will be forgotten. The truth will be hidden by the void. And they will live in a peaceful ignorance. They will believe in a steady cosmos. It is a reminder that the past does not need to haunt us forever, and that eventually everything settles into a common quiet present. Particles appear and disappear in the vacuum of space. The empty air is alive. Tiny sparks flash in the dark. They borrow energy. They pay it back. It happens in the blink of an eye. Imagine the surface of a sleeping ocean. Small bubbles rise. They pop gently. The water remains calm. The surface is unbroken. This happens in the space between your hands. It happens in the deep void. The nothingness breathes. It shimmers with potential. It is a constant rhythm. It is a heartbeat of the vacuum. The silence is textured. It is not dead. It is waiting. The energy cycles softly. In this sense, we see that even in the deepest stillness, there is a pulse of life, a gentle reassurance that we are never truly suspended in nothingness. The filaments of the cosmic web are stretching thin. These strands connect the clusters of galaxies. They are made of dark matter. The expansion pulls them taut. Imagine a net floating in the sea. The currents pull the edges. The ropes tighten. The holes grow larger. The structure becomes delicate. The bridges between the islands lengthen. The journey becomes longer. The web holds on. It resists the tearing. It maintains the pattern of the sky. The tension is slow. It happens over billions of years. The universe becomes it becomes light and airy. The heaviness dissolves. The density drops. You could say that the connections we hold are capable of stretching across great distances, maintaining the bond, even as the spaces between us grow vast and open. The universe is slowly moving toward maximum entropy. This means the energy is spreading out. The hot spots cool down. The cold spots warm up. Imagine a bath drawn in a cold room. The heat rises, the steam fades, the water becomes still. The temperature evens out. Eventually, the water and the air are the same. There is no shock. There is no difference. Everything reaches equilibrium. The distinct shapes dissolve. The contrast fades. The universe becomes a single, smooth field. It is the ultimate form of equality. No star is brighter than the dark. No planet is warmer than the void. All things share the same fate. This reveals that the destiny of the cosmos is a profound unity where all boundaries dissolve into a shared and perfect peace. Cosmological redshift occurs because the wavelength of light stretches with space. The light travels a long path. The road lengthens beneath it. The wave relaxes. It becomes longer. It becomes redder. It loses energy. Imagine a piece of string held between the hands. The hands move apart. The string tightens and stretches. It hums a lower note. The light arrives at our eyes. It is tired. It has journeyed across the widening void. The message is slower. The color is deeper. It has aged along with the universe. The sharp blue of the beginning fades into the warm red of the evening. It is a reminder that the journey softens us and that traveling a great distance allows us to arrive in a state of gentle and quiet maturity. Measurements confirm that the universe expands equally in all directions. This property is called isotropy. It means there is no center. There is no edge. Imagine standing in the middle of a frozen lake. You look north. You look south. The ice stretches to the horizon. The view is the same. The expansion does not favor one side. It is fair. It is balanced. The dark energy pushes everywhere at once. It does not pull harder on the left or the right. The cosmos is a perfect sphere of growth. It expands like a deep breath filling a chest. It is uniform. It is calm. In this sense, we see that true balance is found when we treat every direction with the same quiet attention, creating a life that is stable and whole. Gravity within the local group is stronger than the repulsive force of dark energy. Our galaxy is not alone. We are bound to Andromeda. We are bound to the Triangulum Galaxy. The expansion happens outside our walls. It happens in the deep distance, but here we are safe. Imagine a small house in a storm. The wind howls outside. The rain lashes the windows. The house holds together. The timbers are strong. The family stays close. The vast universe drifts away from us. But our neighbors remain. We hold on to each other. The bond is tighter than the void. The darkness cannot separate us. You could say that intimacy is the force that defies the drift, keeping the things that matter most safely within our reach. The scale factor of the universe describes how relative distances change over time. It is a number that grows. It tracks the size of the room. In the beginning, the number was small. The room was cramped. Now the number is large. The walls are far away. Imagine a map drawn on a rubber sheet. You stretch the sheet. The towns move apart. The roads get longer. The ink remains the same. The symbols do not change. Only the space between them grows. We are the symbols. The vacuum is the rubber. We ride the stretching surface. We move without walking. We travel without effort. This reveals that growth is often a matter of allowing the space around us to expand, giving us the room we need to simply be. A perfect vacuum is impossible due to quantum fluctuations. True emptiness does not exist. The fabric of space is woven with energy. Even when you remove the air, something remains. Imagine a silent room. You think it is quiet, but if you listen closely, you hear the hum of the walls. You hear the settling of the floor. The silence has a texture. It has a weight. The dark energy rises from this baseline. It comes from the fundamental hum of reality. It is the breath of the nothingness. The void is not a blank page. It is a page filled with invisible ink. It is waiting to be read. It is a reminder that we are never truly empty, for deep inside the quietest moments, there is always a reservoir of hidden strength. The cosmological constant is denoted by the Greek letter lambda. It sits in the equations of gravity. It is a small symbol. It represents a vast power. It balances the weight of the stars. Imagine a small stone holding a heavy door open. The stone is still. It does not look strong, yet it resists the pressure of the hinge. It keeps the path clear. It keeps the room open. This constant is the stone. It is the silent guardian of the expansion. It is a fixed point in a moving world. It does not waver. It defines the shape of the future. It ensures the door remains open. In this sense, we see that small, constant things often hold the greatest power, maintaining the structure of our lives with a quiet and unwavering resolve. As the universe expands, the temperature of the cosmic background radiation drops. The fire of the Big Bang is cooling. The heat is spreading out. It is becoming thin. Imagine a cup of tea left on a table. The steam rises. The warmth drifts into the air. The cup slowly becomes cold. The universe is that cup. It is settling into a thermal rest. The intense heat of the beginning is gone. We are left with a gentle glow. The fever has broken. The cosmos is comfortable. It is cool to the touch. The energy is not lost. It is simply shared with the void. It is a long process of, you could say, that cooling down is a natural return to peace, a letting go of the intensity to find a stable and lasting quiet. Dark energy creates a horizon beyond which events are forever disconnected from us. Information cannot cross this line. It is a limit to knowledge. It is a limit to influence. Imagine walking into a thick forest. You walk until the trees block the view of your home. You cannot see the light in the window. You are alone in the woods. The world behind you is gone. The world ahead is hidden. You stand in a circle of visibility. It is a private space. The universe enforces this privacy. It draws a curtain. It keeps the distant chaos away. It leaves you with your immediate surroundings. This reveals that there is comfort in limits, for they define a sanctuary where we can focus on what is here, what is now, and what is real. The observed value of dark energy, divinely tuned to allow for the existence of life. If the value were slightly different, the universe would be dead. It acts like a radio dial set to a precise frequency. Imagine turning a knob on an old stereo in a quiet room. You search for the clear sound. You pass through static. You pass through noise. Finally, you find the single point where the music is clear. The hand that turned the dial was steady. The selection was exact. The universe vibrates at this specific pitch. It does not drift into the chaos on either side. It holds the note perfectly. The surrounding static is vast, but the signal is pure. It travels through the room without distortion. It reaches your ears as a clean melody. It is a reminder that even in a chaotic world, there is a specific and delicate path that has been chosen, allowing the music of life to play on. We see the history of dark energy by looking deep into the past. Light takes billions of years to reach us. It carries a picture of a younger world. Imagine opening an old photo album. The faces are smooth, the eyes are bright. The universe is a gallery of these frozen moments. We look at the distant stars and see the ghost of what once was. We see the expansion when it was slow. We see the time before the acceleration began. The light preserves the memory. It keeps the old days alive. It brings them into the present room. The past is not gone. It is simply traveling towards us. In this sense, we see that nothing is ever truly lost to time, but remains suspended in the vast archive of the light, waiting for us to find it. Expansion affects the space between galaxies, not the space within them. Your atoms will not fly apart. The earth will not drift from the sun. Gravity creates a safe zone. Imagine a sturdy boat on a rising ocean. The water lifts the boat. The horizon moves further away. The distance to the shore increases, but the planks of the boat stay joined. The crew stays together. The vessel remains whole. The expansion happens out there in the deep water. It does not happen in here. The local bonds are stronger than the universal drift. We are protected by the weight of our own existence. We are anchored by the ground beneath our feet. You could say that no matter how much the world changes on the outside, the things that truly hold us together will remain firm and unbroken against the tide. The universe moves from order to disorder. This is the law of entropy. Dark energy aids the spread. It scatters the organized piles of matter. Imagine a library that has been abandoned for a century. The books fall from the shelves. The pages come loose. The wind blows them across the floor. Over time, the words separate. The meaning dissolves. The room becomes a sea of paper. There is no more structure. There is only a layer of soft debris. The energy required to organize is gone. The effort ceases. The silence claims the hall. Everything finds a place on the ground. It is a state of total relaxation. The tension of order is released. This reveals that the natural state of things is not rigid control, but a gentle surrender to the flow of time, where everything eventually finds a place to rest. Star formation will eventually cease as gas clouds disperse. The nurseries of the cosmos will run empty. The fuel is spread too thin. Imagine a fireplace late at night. The logs have burned down. The flames have vanished. There are only glowing coals. The heat is gentle. It is fading. You do not add more wood. You let the fire sleep. The room cools down. The shadows lengthen. The crackling sound stops. The universe is entering its long evening. The bright lights of the cities are turning off one by one. The work of the day is done. The creation is finished. It is time for the long rest. It is a reminder that all activity must eventually come to an end, allowing for a deepened, undisturbed sleep in the cooling quiet of the night. Empty space is not truly empty, but filled with transient energy. Particles borrow existence for a moment. They appear and vanish. Imagine the chest of a sleeping person. It rises, it falls. The movement is rhythmic. It is constant. The person is still, but the life remains. The vacuum breathes in the same way. It is a sea of potential. It bubbles with invisible activity. The darkness is not dead. It is waiting. It is humming a low note that we cannot hear. The fabric of the night is woven with these tiny breaths. They support the structure of reality. They keep the void from collapsing. In this sense, we see that even in the deepest silence, there is a pulse of life that sustains us, a hidden rhythm that continues while we sleep. Observations indicate the universe is spatially flat. Parallel lines remain parallel forever. They do not cross. Imagine a sheet of ice extending forever. It has no curve. It has no bumps. It is perfectly smooth. You slide a stone across it. The stone travels in a straight line. It does not veer. The path is honest. The geometry is simple. Dark energy stretches this surface. It irons out the kinks. It removes the wrinkles. The world is not a maze. It is an open plain. The complexity is smoothed away. The horizon is level. The ground is even. There are no hidden turns. You could say that the fundamental nature of reality is one of profound simplicity, offering us a clear and open path to travel without fear of getting lost. We can describe dark energy, but we cannot explain it. The nature of the force is a mystery. We see the motion. We do not see the mover. Imagine walking through a dark house. You know the floor is there. You feel the walls. You do not need to see the foundation to know it supports you. The universe is built on a secret. The secret holds the stars apart. It keeps the room wide. We live inside this mystery. We are carried by it. We do not need to solve every riddle to be safe. We only need to exist. The lack of answers is not a threat. It is a space for wonder. This reveals that we can live peacefully within the unknown, trusting the invisible forces that hold our world together. What gravitational lensing reveals the distribution of dark energy by bending light. The path of a photon is not always straight. It curves around heavy things. Imagine a stream of water flowing over a pebbled bed. The water moves around the stones. The surface ripples. The flow is disturbed by what lies beneath. The light from distant galaxies travels through the dark web. It is distorted by the invisible mass. The image we see is slightly shifted. It is like looking through old, wavy glass. The view is altered. The reality is bent. We trace the ripples back to the source. We map the unseen currents. It is a subtle distortion. It is a quiet clue. It is a reminder that even the things we cannot see have the power to shape the way we perceive the world, bending the light before it ever reaches our eyes. The Hubble tension refers to a discrepancy in measuring the universe's expansion rate. Different methods give different answers. One method looks at the beginning. One method looks at the present. They do not agree. Imagine two clocks in the same room. One ticks slightly faster than the other. You listen to the rhythm. The beats drift apart. The time is not synchronized. The universe holds a contradiction. The early cosmos tells one story. The modern cosmos tells another. The gap lies in the middle. The silence between the numbers is deep. We do not know which clock is right. We only hear the difference. The mystery sits in the center of the room. And this reveals that the truth is often found not in the answers we agree upon, but in the quiet spaces where our understanding falls apart. Cosmic voids are the largest structures in the universe, and they are growing. These are vast, empty bubbles. They push the galaxies into thin walls. Imagine blowing a bubble in a block of soft clay. The clay moves aside. The empty space claims the center. The material is pushed to the edge. The void is the active force. The matter is passive. We live on the thin skin of a bubble. The interior is hollow. The darkness there is absolute. It expands with a slow and steady pressure. It clears the stage. It makes room for nothingness. The structure of reality is defined by what is not there. You could say that the empty spaces in our lives are often the most powerful, shaping the boundaries of where we stand and where we can go. The coincidence problem asks why dark energy and dark matter are currently comparable in density. For most of history, they will not. In the future, they will not be. We live in a special window. Imagine it rained passing a beautiful mountain. The view lasts for only a few minutes. Before, there were reeds. After, there will be tunnels. Now the window is clear. We are the passengers watching the peak. We are awake at the right moment. The balance is temporary. The scales are tipping as we watch. The era of equality is fleeting. The universe is changing its phase. We are witnesses to a rare alignment. It is a reminder to appreciate the view we have today, for the landscape of time, it's always moving and will never be the same again. Intergalactic travel becomes increasingly impossible as dark energy accelerates. The destination moves away faster than we can chase it. The bridge is burning behind us. The bridge is burning ahead of us. Imagine trying to walk to a house that is sliding down a hill. A house slides to steps. The distance grows. You run, but the gap widens. The path stretches into the infinite. The connection is severed. We are locked in our local region. The dream of reaching the edge is gone. The boundary is sealed. We must be content with our own island. The vast ocean is closed to us. In this sense, we see that accepting our limits is the only way to find peace, finding comfort in the place where we are meant to stay. The second law states that entropy always increases. Dark energy accelerates this process. It spreads the chaos. It thins the soup. Imagine a drop of ink falling into a clear lake. The ink spreads, it swirls. It eventually disappears. The water becomes clear again, but the ink is gone. It is everywhere and nowhere. The universe dissolves its distinct features. The energy spreads until it is uniform. The clumps smooth out. The order fades into a flat background. The complexity is lost. The simplicity returns. The struggle to maintain shape ends. The final state is a gray mist. It is a long exhale. This reveals that the ultimate direction of all things is a return to simplicity, where the complex knots of existence are finally untied. Dark energy does not dilute, which violates our intuition about conservation. Usually, if you spread butter on a larger piece of toast, it gets thinner. Dark energy creates more butter. It defies the rule of scarcity. Imagine a room that grows larger, but the air pressure never drops. The wind never stops blowing. The supply is magical. It appears from the void. The emptiness is a generator. It produces power without fuel. It feeds the expansion without cost. The resource is infinite. It challenges our understanding of limits. The universe is not a closed box. It is an open well. It fills itself as it empties. It is a reminder that the source of our strength often comes from within, a wellspring that replenishes itself the more we draw from it. The ultimate fate of the universe may be a state of total isolation. Every galaxy will be alone in its own observable universe. The night sky will be empty. The stars of the Milky Way will be the only companions. Imagine a lighthouse on a dark sea. The other ships have sailed over the edge of the world. The other lights have gone out. The keeper looks into the black. There is no response. There is only the sound of the waves. The solitude is complete. The rest of the cosmos has moved on. The silence is heavy, but the lighthouse still burns. The local light remains warm. We are left with ourselves. You could say that in the end, we are all islanders, finding our warmth and our meaning in the small circle of light we keep for ourselves. Chameleon fields are hypothetical scalar fields that change their mass depending on the density of their environment. In empty space, they are light and they float freely. On Earth, they become heavy and they hide from our detectors. Imagine a coat that changes its weight. In the cold wind, it is thick. In the warm house, it is thin. The field adjusts to the room and adapts to the surroundings. It does not force its way. It simply changes its nature to fit the space. It is present but unnoticed. It is heavy when needed and light when free. This reveals that true strength is often found in adaptability, the ability to our nature to find comfort in whatever space we inhabit. The recessional velocity of a galaxy is proportional to its proper distance from the observer. The farther you look, the faster it runs. The horizon is a retreating line. Imagine standing on a shore. The tide goes out and never returns. The ships sail over the edge. The water widens between you and the destination. The gap grows silent. The connection stretches until it releases. The distant world becomes a memory. The light becomes a whisper. We are left on the beach, and the ocean is too wide to cross. The silence is vast. It is a reminder that some distances are meant to be kept, and that there's a quiet dignity in letting the things we cannot reach drift peacefully away. The total density of the universe is exactly equal to the critical density required for a flat geometry. The scales are balanced. There is no excess and there is no lack. Imagine a cup filled exactly to the brim. One more drop, it's still. One less will leave a gap. The surface tension holds it flat. The water is still. The universe walks a perfect line. It does not tip into descent. It does not drift apart too soon. It holds the pose. The tension is maintained without effort. The geometry is smooth and level. In this sense, we see that the cosmos exists in a state of perfect equilibrium, a gentle balance that allows us to rest safely between the extremes. As the universe expands, the density of ordinary matter decreases while dark energy remains constant. The atoms are spreading out. The clouds are thinning. Imagine a room where the walls move outward. The furniture stays the same size. The empty floor grows. The objects become islands in a sea of carpet. Their closeness fades. The intimacy of the early universe is gone. The particles are solitary, and they travel for eons without touching. The crowd disperses. The noise settles. The space becomes dominant. The heavy things are where you could say that we are moving toward a time of great solitude, where the clutter of the world is removed to reveal the peaceful silence of the void. The final state of an accelerating universe is a temperature approaching absolute zero. The heat leaves the room. The glowing energy goes out. The movement stops. Imagine a winter night that lasts forever. The snow covers the ground. The wind dies down. The window is cold to the touch. The universe pulls the blanket up. It stops trembling. The energy is spread so thin it cannot be felt. The heat of life breaks. The calm is absolute. There is no more vibration. There is only the stillness of the ice. This reveals that the ultimate cure for all unrest is a deep and lasting cool, a final rest where the heat of the effort is forgotten in the quiet of the frost. We can only measure the effects of dark energy on the largest cosmic scales. It does not touch the small things. It ignores the cup on your table. It ignores the breath in your lungs. It works only in the vast deep. Imagine a current that moves the ocean but not the boat. The water below is shifting. The surface is calm. The power is hidden in the depth. It is too big to see. It is too wide to feel. We drift on top of it. We are carried by a giant we cannot name. The force is gentle because it is huge. It is a reminder that we are oft unsupported by forces far greater than ourselves, invisible currents that guide us safely through the night without ever disturbing our sleep. Dark energy will eventually overcome the gravitational pull of the largest superclusters. The great cities of stars will drift apart. The bonds will loosen. Imagine a knot tying itself. The rope goes slack. The tension releases. The strands fall away. The clusters dissolve into the dark. The gathering is over. The holding unstops. The hands release their grip. The galaxies float free. They drift into their own corners. The pressure to belong is gone. The freedom is total. The structure surrenders to the void. In this sense, we see that letting go is the final destiny of all things, a release from the weight of connection into the weightless peace of the open dark. The cosmological constant implies a minimum temperature that the universe can never go below. The void has a floor. It is not a bottomless pit. There is a baseline warmth. Imagine a bed that has been slept in. It holds a faint heat. It is never truly freezing. The energy of the vacuum keeps the dark alive. It prevents total nothingness. It is a tiny spark. It is a pilot light in the cellar. The universe keeps a small candle burning. It watches over the sleep. The cold is never absolute. The presence remains. You could say that even in the end, we are never left in the total cold, for there is always a foundational warmth that stays to keep the darkness company. The universe might be resting on a false floor. This is the theory of vacuum metastability. The energy level we see is not the absolute bottom. There is a deeper basement. Imagine standing on a frozen lake. The ice holds your weight. It feels solid. But below lies the deep water. We exist on this thin layer of ice. At any moment, a bubble of truth vacuum could appear. It would expand at the speed of light. It would change the laws of physics. But for now, the ice holds. The floor remains steady. We walk safely on the surface. It is a reminder that stability is a gift, a temporary platform that supports us above the unknown depths, allowing us to live without worry of falling through. The expansion eventually removes all distinct features from the universe. This is called the cosmic no-air theorem. In the beginning, there were lumps. There were clouds. There were movements. Dark energy smooths them out. Imagine a rough stone in a tumbling river. The water washes over it for years. The rough edges wear down. The surface becomes polished. The stone becomes a perfect sphere. The universe is being polished by the expansion. The galaxies are the rough edges. They are being pushed away. What remains is a smooth, featureless void. The complexity is washed away. This reveals that time as a way of softening every edge, eventually bringing everything to a state of round and perfect calm. Changes in the gravitational field travel at the speed of light. Dark energy obeys this limit. It does not act instantly. It ripples across the void. Imagine throwing a stone into a pond. The splash happens here. The lily pad on the other side moves later. The message takes time to cross the water. The universe communicates at a slow pace. The stars are distant correspondents. They send letters that arrive years later. The expansion is a wave that rolls through the deep dark. It is a delayed reaction. It is a slow conversation. We wait for the news. This reveals that there is a natural rhythm to connection and that we must be patient as the ripples of the world make their way to us. Our galaxy is flowing toward a massive gravitational feature called the Great Attractor. We are being pulled by a hidden giant. That dark energy opposes this flow. It tries to wash us back out to sea. Imagine swimming toward a distant island. The current pushes you away. You stroke forward. The water pushes back. It is a slow contest. The gravity wants us to gather. The void wants us to drift. We are caught in the middle. The motion is barely felt. We float between the destination and the deep ocean. The motion is silent. You could say that life is often a balance between the goals we chase and the invisible currents that gently guide us elsewhere. The cosmic microwave background marks the edge of the visible universe. It is a wall of light that has cooled to ice. We cannot see past it. It is the curtain of the first act. Imagine looking into a dense fog. You see the mist swirling. You cannot see the sun behind it. The light is trapped in the cloud. This barrier surrounds us. It is the limit of our vision. It retreats as time passes, but we can never catch it. We live inside this sphere of clarity. The mystery lies just outside the skin. The fog holds the secrets of the birth. It is a reminder that some things are meant to remain hidden, wrapping us in a layer of mystery that keeps the world soft and undefined. Radiation energy dilutes faster than matter as the universe expands. Light loses its strength. It stretches and fades. Imagine a drop of red dye in a swimming pool. At first, the color is bright. Then the water fills the pool. The red swirls. It becomes pink. It becomes clear. The color vanishes. The energy of the light is washed out by the growing space. The universe becomes paler. The intensity drops. The glare softens. We are left with the gentle twilight. The brightness of the raw energy is gone. We are left with the quiet afterglow. In this sense, we see that time heals the intensity of all things, fading the bright colors of the past into a peaceful transparency. We tend to focus on the objects in the universe. We look at stars. We look at planets. But the universe is defined by what is not there. The voids are the true guardians. They are the majority. Imagine a net made of thin thread. The holes are much bigger than the strings. The empty space defines the net. We live on the strings. The dark energy lives in the holes. It pushes the threads outward. The emptiness is the main character. The matter is just the outline. The silence is the substance. The noise is the exception. This reveals that the empty spaces in our lives are not mistakes, but the vast and necessary fields where the true shape of our existence is defined. Some physicists describe the thermal rest not as an end, but as a state of maximum rest. The universe stops working. It has finished its job. Imagine a worker coming home after a long day. He sits in the chair. He closes his eyes. The breath slows down. The muscles relax. There is no more agenda. There is no more list. The universe is heading toward this chair. It is seeking retirement. The dark energy is smoothing the cushions. The stars are turning off the lamps. The long shift of creation is ending. The cosmos is preparing to sleep. It is a reminder that rest is the ultimate goal of all labor, a final and well-deserved peace where nothing is required of us anymore. The Hubble flow describes the motion of galaxies moving away from us. It is not a wind. It is a current. Imagine a boat on a wide river. The water moves the boat. The engine is off. The pilot is asleep. The river carries the vessel toward the sea. The flow is silent. It is steady. The galaxies surrender to this drift. They do not resist the current. They ride the expansion deep into the void. The motion is effortless. It is smooth. The distance grows without friction. The journey happens without effort. This reveals that the greatest movements in life often require no effort at all, but simply a willingness to let the current carry us where we need to go. As the universe expands, the density of gas drops. The clouds become wisps. The fog clears. Imagine a drop of milk in a glass of water. It swirls and it spreads. Eventually, the water looks clear again. The milk is still there, but it is thin. The atoms of the cosmos are spreading out. They are finding their own space. The crowding of the early days is over. The pressure is gone. The particles float in a... There is no bumping. There is no heat. The atmosphere becomes light and breathable. In this sense, we see that letting things spread out brings a clarity to the world, allowing the heavy clouds to a gentle and open sky. Dark energy behaves like a stretched spring. This is the physics of negative pressure. It wants to return, but instead, it pushes out. Imagine a coil of wire. You pull the ends. The metal gets tight. It stores energy. It holds tension. The vacuum of space is tight. It is loaded with this hidden force. It pushes against the galaxies. It drives the walls of the universe outward. The tension does not break. It sustains the shape of the void. It keeps the roof from falling. The invisible strength is doing the work. It is holding the world open. It is a reminder that the tension we feel, often what keeps our world expanded, creating the necessary space for us to live. Gravity will eventually lose its grip on all but the closest galaxies. The local group will remain. The rest will leave. Imagine a group of friends standing on an ice floe. The ice opens. The main sheet drifts away. The friends stay on their small raft. The ocean widens. The other rafts disappear into the mist. We are left with our own circle. The bond holds us together. The outside world fades. The circle becomes our entire universe. The focus shifts inward. The distraction of the horizon is removed. Whichesh who remains. You could say that as the world gets larger and emptier, the value of those who stay beside us becomes infinite. The time for building large structures is over. The gravity is too weak. The expansion is too strong. Imagine a sculptor working with clay. The clay begins to dry. It hardens. The hands can no longer change the shape. The form is set. The universe has settled. The great walls of galaxies are finished. No new clusters will gather. The architecture is permanent. The shifting is done. The dust settles into its final place. We live in the finished house. The noise of construction is stopped. The quiet has arrived. This reveals that there is a peace in completion, a moment when we stop trying to change the shape of things and simply live within the walls we have built. We sit at the center of our own observable universe. We cannot see what others see. The horizon is a circle around us. Imagine holding a lantern in a dark field. The light creates a bubble. You see the grass near your feet. You see the trees at the edge. Beyond the ring, there is only night. Everyone holds their own lantern. Everyone has their own circle of light. The circles do not always touch. We walk in our own sphere of clarity. The dark energy pushes the edge of the field away. It protects our view. It keeps our focus here. It is a reminder that we are only responsible for the light we carry and the small patch of ground it illuminates. We have entered the era of dark energy dominance. The reign of matter is finished. The universe has grown up. Imagine a storm that rages all morning. By the afternoon, the wind dies. The clouds break. The evening is calm. The energy of the youth is spent. The cosmos is settling into its golden years. The pace is steady. The intense changes are in the past. The expansion is a smooth glide. It is a time of reflection. It is a time of rest. The universe is comfortable in its own skin. It is not trying to be dense. It is not trying to be hot. In this sense, we see that aging is simply a transition from activity to calm. The vacuum energy is the lowest possible energy state. It is the ground floor of reality. You cannot go lower. Imagine a stone falling into a well. It hits the bottom. It stops. It rests in the mud. It cannot fall further. The universe rests on this energy. It is the bedrock. It is the foundation that does not move. The stars are built on top of it. The galaxies float above it. The dark energy is the floor that supports the dance. It is silent. It is solid. It is always there. It catches everything that falls. This reveals that beneath all the movement and the noise, there is a firm and unshakable bottom where we can always find a place to land. The cosmic microwave background radiation is incredibly smooth. The temperature variations are almost non-existent. It is a sea of perfect uniformity. Imagine a vast lake at dawn. The air is still. The water is like glass. There is not a single ripple. The surface mirrors the sky without a flaw. The universe began in the state of deep quiet. It was not turbulent. It was orderly. The matter was spread like fine dust on a level floor. There were no rough edges. There were no sudden changes. The foundation was even. It is a reminder that the beginning of all things is often a state of perfect and simple peace, a clean slate before the noise begins. The universe loses heat as it expands. The energy spreads over a larger area. The intensity drops. Imagine a hot stone taken from the fire. You place it on the cold ground. The heat leaves the stone. It enters the air. The stone becomes cool. It matches the temperature of the earth. The cosmos is doing the same. It is exhaling its warmth. The heat of creation is fading. The background becomes cold. The particles slow down. The vibration ceases. The environment becomes gentle. It is no longer glowing. In this sense, we see that cooling down is a natural return to balance, a way of shedding the excess energy to find a comfortable stillness. Signals sent today may never reach distant galaxies. The space grows too fast for the message to arrive. The receiver moves away. The letter is lost in the mail. Imagine shouting to a friend in a high wind. The sound is carried away. It does not reach their ears. The words dissolve. The connection is faded by the distance. The galaxy drifts into silence. It becomes a separate world. We stop trying to be heard. We accept the quiet. The need to communicate ends. The silence is not a loss. It is a state of being. This reveals that we do not need to be heard by everyone to be all, and that there is peace in simply existing within our own quiet sphere. Cosmic voids tend to be spherical in shape. The pressure of dark energy pushes out in all directions. It clears around space. Imagine a drop of oil in water. It forms a perfect circle. It holds its shape. The pressure is even. The void grows like a balloon. It moves the galaxies to the shell. The center is empty. The center is pure. It is a bubble of pure openness. It floats in the web. It is vast and hollow. It is a sanctuary of silence. The shape is simple. The geometry is clean. You could say that the most natural shape of space is a circle of quiet, a protected area where the noise of the world is pushed to the edges. Neutrinos travel through the universe almost without stopping. They pass through the dark energy fields. They pass through the earth. Imagine a shadow walking through a wall. The stone does not stop it. The barrier is missed. The particle does not feel the obstacle. It flows like water through a net. The dark energy does not hinder it. The expansion does not slow it. It travels a straight path. It is free. It is unburdened. The heavy matter is rare. The open road is everywhere. The journey is smooth. It is a reminder that if we carry no weight, we can pass through the obstacles of the world as if they were merely shadows. Science describes how dark energy works, but not why it exists. The mechanism is clear. The purpose is hidden. Imagine finding a machine humming in an empty field. You see the gears turn. You feel the vibration. You do not know who built it. You do not know what it makes. You simply watch it run. The universe is this machine. It operates in silence. It follows a script we did not write. The reason is veiled. The function is evident. We observe the motion. We respect the power. We do not need the blueprint to appreciate the engine. In this sense, we see an understanding is not a requirement for acceptance, and that we can live alongside the mystery without needing to solve it. If dark energy is a cosmological constant, it does not change with time. It is the same yesterday. It is the same tomorrow. Imagine a heavy mountain. The weather comes. The snow falls. The sun shines. The mountain does not move. It does not change its shape. It remains a fixed point. The energy of the void is this mountain. It is the anchor of the universe. It provides a stable background. It does not fluctuate with the mood of the cosmos. It is reliable. It is steady. It holds the stage for the stars. This reveals that amidst the changing seasons of life, there's a fundamental stability that endures, a constant presence that we can always rely upon. In the far future, the universe will be dark and empty. This is not a sorrow. It is a rest. The stars will sleep. The galaxies will be alone. Imagine a house at night when everyone is asleep. The lights are out. The breathing is slow. The rooms are quiet. There is no activity. There is no demand. And the house is at peace. The universe is heading toward this night. It is preparing for a long Sunday. The activity of the day is over. The stillness is welcome. The dark is soft. You could say that the ultimate destination is not emptiness, but a sanctuary, a place of perfect rest where the noise of existence finally fades away. Dark energy is transparent to all forms of electromagnetic radiation. Light passes through it without stopping. It does not cast a shadow. It does not reflect a beam. Imagine a presence moving through a crowded room. It walks through the furniture. It walks through the walls. It does not disturb the dust. The dark energy is this presence. It fills the space between the stars. It fills the space in your room. It is present but untouchable. It is a silent witness to the history of the world. It sees everything but holds nothing. It allows the light to travel freely. The path is clear. The medium is invisible. It offers no resistance. It is a reminder that the most powerful forces are often the ones we cannot touch, present in the silence and allowing us to move freely through the dark. The Hubble constant quantifies the rate of cosmic expansion. It is a number that measures the growth of the dark. It is the pulse of the universe. Imagine a slow metronome clicking in a large, empty hall. Tick, the walls move back. Talk, the ceiling rises. The rhythm is steady. It is a slow heartbeat. It does not race. It does not falter. The cosmos breathes in time with this number. The expansion is a disciplined march. It follows a rule. The vastness is not chaotic. It is measured. It is precise. We live inside this rhythmic growth. The beat is too slow to feel, but it is always there. In this sense, we see that the universe is not a wild expansion, but a controlled and steady breath that creates the time and space for us to exist. The cosmological horizon limits the number of accessible states. The universe has a boundary for information, but we cannot know what lies beyond the wall. Imagine living in a valley surrounded by high mountains. You know the valley well. You know every tree. You know every stone. But the world beyond the peaks is a mystery. The mist covers the summits. The path ends at the slope. We are contained in our own valley of light. The horizon keeps the rest of the universe separate. We are not meant to see the whole picture. We are meant to live here. The limit is a form of shelter. It keeps the infinite at bay. You could say that not knowing everything is a form of protection, allowing us to find peace within the boundaries of what is close and familiar. Gravitational binding energy protects local systems from expansion. The solar system is safe from the drift. The earth holds the moon. The sun holds the earth. Dark energy pushes the void, but it cannot break the bond. Imagine a family holding hands in a strong wind. The wind blows the leaves away. It blows the dust away that the grip holds. The circle remains unbroken. The force of the connection is stronger than the force of the empty space. We are anchored to each other. We are safe from the tide. The universe moves around us. We stand firm. The expansion washes past our island. This reveals that true strength lies in our connections, and that the bonds we form are powerful enough to withstand the drifting currents of the vast and empty world. The universe approaches a state of maximum entropy over time. This means that everything is slowly unraveling. The knots are untying. The structure is ours. Imagine this, a castle built on the edge of the sea. The tide comes in. The water washes over the walls. The sharp towers become round. The moat fills with sand. Eventually, the beach is smooth again. The castle is gone. The sand is at rest. The universe is smoothing out its oms and castles. It is returning to a state of calm. The effort of holding a shape is over. The particles are released. The complexity dissolves into a simple plane. It is a reminder that there is a relief in letting go, a gentle return to the natural state of peace where nothing needs to be built or maintained. The density of dark energy is constant in time and space. It does not fluctuate. It is a reliable foundation. Imagine a smooth stone floor that extends forever. It has no cracks. It has no dips. It is perfectly level. You can walk for 1,000 miles. The ground feels the same. The universe is paved with this energy. It is the baseline of reality. It supports every star. It supports every atom. It does not change with the weather. It does not change with the seasons. It is a promise kept by the cosmos. It provides a steady stage for the drama of life. In this sense, we see that we are supported by consistency that never wavers, a flattened, solid ground that is always there to catch us. The universe will eventually become too large for light to cross. The distance between points will exceed the speed of the message. The conversation will stop. Imagine the travelers walking in opposite directions. They shout to each other. As they walk, their voices get quieter. Eventually, the sound does not reach. They walk into their own separate silence. The light is the voice. The space is the distance. The galaxy becomes a solitary walker. It carries its own light. It does not share it. The solitude is complete. The noise of the outside world is cut off. The traveler is alone with your thoughts. You could say that silence is the final destination of all journeys, a place where we are finally alone with the light which are inside. The The nature of dark energy implies a lonely future for our galaxy. We will eventually drift alone in the void. The neighbors will leave. The sky will darken. Imagine a house on a hill as the fog rolls in. The lights of the town below disappear one by one. The road vanishes. The world shrinks to the four walls of your home. You are safe inside. The fire is warm. The chair is soft. The darkness outside is vast, but it does not enter. You are content with your own space. The solitude is not daunting. It is cozy. The distraction of the world is gone. This reveals that ultimately we must find our comfort within our own shelter, turning inward to find the warmth that sustains us through the long and quiet night. The cosmological constant problem creates a discrepancy of 120 orders of magnitude. This is the largest gap in the history of physics. The theory predicts a surge. The reality is a whisper. Imagine a storm that covers the entire ocean. The waves should be miles high. The wind should move the sky. But when you look, the water is flat. The air is still. The intensity is perfectly cancelled out. The massive forces oppose each other with exact precision. They lock together in a stalemate. The result is not disorder. The result is a silent room. We live in the quiet gap between giant forces. The peace is engineered by a profound balance. It is a reminder that even when great powers are at work, the result can be a stillness that allows us to sleep without worry. Dark energy drives the universe toward an isotropic state. This means it looks the same in every direction. The lumps are smoothed out. The knots are untied. Imagine a field of tall grass that has been pressed by the wind. It lies flat. It points in one direction. Then the wind shifts. It blows gently from all sides. The grass stands up. The field becomes even. The horizon is a straight line. There is no bias. There is no favored path. The expansion treats every corner of the sky with equal care. The geometry is fair. The space is open. In this sense, we see that the ultimate shape of reality is when every direction offers the same vast and open potential for a journey. The observable universe is only a fraction of the whole. The inflation pushed most of reality beyond our view. Dark energy ensures we will never see it. We live in a small pocket. Imagine a diver deep in the ocean. His light reaches only a few feet. The rest of the sea is hidden in the dark. He knows the ocean is vast. He knows creatures and mountains lie in the deep, but he stays in his circle of light. The boundary is set. The unknown surrounds us. It is infinite. It is silent. We are comfortable in our small room. The vastness does not overwhelm us. It holds us. This reveals that we do not need to see the whole world to belong to it, and that there is safety in the limits of what we can know. Matter density drops as the cube of the scale factor. Energy density remains constant. The stuff of the world gets thin. The void stays strong. Imagine a crowd of people in a room. The walls move back. The people stand further apart. The conversation fades. The warmth of the bodies fades, but the air remains. The air fills the new space instantly. The substance of the room is now mostly air. The people are rare dots. The atmosphere is the ruler. The physical world is becoming a quiet town. The emptiness is taking over the lease. You could say that the future belongs to the silence, and that the heavy things we carry are destined to become lightened. The expansion rate was slower in the past. Gravity acted as a brake. It held the universe back. Then the foot came off the pedal. Imagine a car coasting up a hill. It slows down. It almost stops at the top. Then it tips over the crest. The road goes down. The car picks up speed. There is no engine noise. There's only the rush of the wind. The universe has passed the crest. It is rolling down the other side. The resistance is gone. The journey is becoming faster and easier. The effort against the weight is over. It is a reminder that after the hard climb, there comes a time of release where the momentum carries us forward without any effort at all. Dark energy behaves as a fluid with negative pressure. It does not flow like water. It stretches like elastic. Imagine a sheet of rubber pulled tight across a frame. It is under tension. It wants to return, but instead pushes out. In the strange logic of the cosmos, this tension pushes the frame outward. It drives the expansion. The stress creates the space. The pulling creates the widening. It is a paradox of physics. It is a tension that does not break the world, but builds it. The force is invisible. It is constant. It is working while you sleep. In this sense, we see that the pressures we feel are often the very things that are expanding our horizons, creating the room we need to grow. The universe is becoming more quiet. The number of physical galaxies is dropping. The sky is emptying out. Imagine a town where the neighbors slowly move away. One by one, the houses go dark. The moving trucks leave. The streets become quiet. You are the last one left. The silence is deep. The privacy is absolute. You walk the empty roads. There is no one to disturb you. The universe is granting us a solitary retreat. It is a peaceful isolation. The noise of the crowd is removed. We are left with the stars in our own yard. This reveals that as time goes on, we are meant to find our comfort not in the crowd, but in the quiet sanctity of our own home. If dark energy is dynamic, it might eventually open the atoms themselves. This is the great release. The force enters the smallest spaces. It enters the form. Imagine a cloud of smoke. The wind blows. The smoke disperses. The particles fly away from each other. The shape is lost. The cloud becomes the air. The atoms of your body are the smoke. The dark energy is the wind. It gently unties the bonds of matter. It releases the energy trapped in the form. The structure dissolves into the void. It is a return to the elementary state. It is a final liberation. You could say that the ultimate destiny of all matter is to be set free from the form, drifting peacefully into the endless embrace of the dark. Quantum field theory predicts a vacuum energy density far greater than what we observe. The discrepancy is enormous. It is the largest mismatch in science. The equations suggest the empty air should be active. They suggest the void should open itself, but it does not. The vacuum is calm. The energy is hidden. Imagine the giants pushing against it or from opposite sides. They are incredibly strong, but their strength is equal. The door does not move. It stands perfectly still. The pressure is immense, but the result is silence. We live in the stillness created by this balance. The intensity is locked away. It is neutralized by a perfect balance. It is a reminder that a peaceful environment is often the result of powerful forces effectively canceling each other out, leaving us with a safe place to rest. We live in a unique cosmic era where dark energy and dark matter are comparable in density. This is a temporary alignment. In the past, matter ruled the sky. In the future, the void will rule. We exist in the brief transition. Imagine a scale tipping slowly from left to right. For a single moment, the beam is level. The weights hang in equilibrium. We are living in that moment. The universe is passing through a twilight. The heavy day of matter is ending. The long night of energy is beginning. The shadows are long. The light is soft. The balance is delicate and fleeting. We are lucky to be here to see it. This reveals that our existence is timed to a rare moment of harmony, a pause in the cosmic rhythm before the final change occurs. The expansion of the universe creates a cosmological event horizon. This is a boundary we cannot see past. Light from beyond this line will never reach us. The space is stretching faster than the message can travel. Imagine a runner on a track that lengthens with every step. The finish line moves away. The runner never gets closer. The distant galaxies are the runners. They are falling behind the curve as the world. They slip into the unobservable dark. The edge of our reality is closing in. The circle of what we can know is defined by this limit. The rest is silence. It is a secret kept by the void. In this sense, we see that there is a comfort in boundaries, for they define the safe and knowable space where we are meant to live. Dark energy does not seem to interact with any other forces of nature. It does not feel magnetism. It does not feel the nuclear force. It only whispers to gravity. Imagine a stranger walking through a busy market. He does not speak to the vendors. He does not touch the goods. He walks through the crowd without making a sound. He is there, but he is separate. The dark energy permeates the universe in this way. It is the background of the painting. It ignores the details of the brushstrokes. It only affects the size of the canvas. It is aloof. It is distant. It is the silent stage for the play. It is a reminder that some things are present without being involved, providing a space for life without interfering with its flow. As the universe expands, the sky will become darker. The light from other galaxies will be stretched until it is invisible. The stars we see will fade. Imagine sitting in a room as the candles fade out one by one. The light retreats to the center of the table. The corners of the room disappear. The world becomes smaller. The distraction of the distance is removed. We are left with the local light. The vast cosmos becomes a memory. The darkness wraps around our home. It is a gentle closing of the curtains. The show is over. The audience leaves. We are left with ourselves. You could say that the end of the universe is a return to intimacy, where the focus shifts from the infinite to the immediate and the personal. The pressure of dark energy is negative, which causes the expansion to accelerate. Positive pressure pushes outward like air in a tire. Negative pressure pulls inward like a stretched band. But in general relativity, this pulling creates a push. It is a reversal of logic. The tension of the void drives the growth. Imagine a heavy weight that lifts itself. The strain creates the motion. The vacuum pulls on space, and space responds by growing larger. It is a silent work. It is a labor without sweat. The tension does not break. It holds the universe open. It creates room for the future. This reveals that the stress we feel can sometimes be the very force that widens our world, creating the necessary space for new things to emerge. The presence of dark energy suggests the universe has no edge. It is likely infinite. If the energy is the same everywhere, the expansion is the same everywhere. There is no wall. There is no cliff. Imagine a desert that goes on forever. You walk for a lifetime. The horizon never changes. The sand is the same. The sky is the same. The universe is this endless place. It has no center to leave. It has no border to cross. It is simply there. The vastness is absolute. It is a freedom without limit. It is a space without enclosure. We are small travelers in a boundless land. It is a reminder that we are free to drift, for there are no walls to hold us back and no end to the journey. In the distant future, the temperature of the universe will approach absolute zero. The energy will be spread so thin it is almost gone. The movement of atoms will cease. This is the thermal rest. It is not an intense end. It is a settling down. Imagine a winter that never ends. The ice forms slowly. The water stops moving. The ripples freeze. The sound of the waves stops. The world becomes still. The activity of life is frozen in a perfect crystal. The effort for warmth ends. The universe accepts the cold. It sleeps in the ice. It is a state of permanent rest. The noise is finished. This reveals that the ultimate destination of all activity is a deep and lasting peace, a final silence where nothing ever needs to move again. Dark energy does not cluster or clump like ordinary matter. It is a smooth and uniform field. It fills the universe without leaving any gaps. Imagine a calm sea that has no waves. The surface is perfectly flat. It stretches to the horizon. There are no hills of water. There are no valleys of foam. The energy is the same in every direction. It does not gather in the cities of stars. It does not avoid the empty voids. It is a constant presence. It lies underneath everything. It supports the weight of the dark. It is a reliable floor for the cosmos. It does not change its mind. It does not move its weight. This reveals that the foundation of our reality, but a consistent and level ground that holds us steadily through the night. The expansion rate tells us the age of the universe. We measure the speed of the drift. We rewind the clock. We find the beginning. Imagine reading a book backwards. You start at the end. You turn the pages one by one. The story moves in reverse. The characters come back together. The scattered scenes unite. We trace the galaxies back to a single point. The dark energy affects the speed of the turning pages. It changes the timeline. It stretches the history. The past is deep. The road back is long. The beginning is a distant memory. It is faint. It is quiet. It is a reminder that we are the result of a very long and slow journey, and that our story began in a silence we can no longer hear. The total energy density of the universe suggests a flat geometry. This means parallel lines never meet. They stay apart forever. Imagine walking on a vast, open plain. The ground is level. There is no curve to the earth. You look ahead. The path goes on without end. You look behind. The path is straight. There is no bending. There is no loop. The universe is not a closed ball. It is an open table. The dark energy keeps the surface tight. It irons out the wrinkles of gravity. It keeps the map simple. We traveled in straight lines. We do not return to the start. In this sense, we see that life is a linear journey, a path that leads us always forward into the new and open space. Photons lose energy as they travel through the expanding space. The light becomes tired. The color shifts to read. This is the cosmological wrench fit. Imagine a runner finishing a long race. He starts with speed. He starts with strength. But the road is long. The miles were dead. He slows to a walk. His breath is heavy. The light from the stars is this runner. It arrives at our eyes exhausted. It has crossed the great void. It has lost its heat. It is gentle now. It is no longer blinding. The journey has softened it. The intensity is gone. You could say that the passage of time takes the sharp edge off of everything, leaving us with a light that is soft, warm, and easy to bear. Type 1a supernovae serve as standard candles for measuring distance. They burn with a specific brightness. We know how bright they should be. Imagine a row of streetlights on a dark road. You know the bulbs are the same, but the distant lights look dim. They are faint sparks. The darkness surrounds them. We see that the lights are further away than they should be. The road is stretching. The asphalt is moving. The dark energy is pushing the destination away. The landmarks are drifting. The map is changing. We are moving deeper into the solitary night. It is a reminder that even the things we trust to guide us and drift away, leaving us to find our own way in the expanding dark. Dark energy creates vast bubbles of emptiness called cosmic voids. These voids are the largest things in the universe. They push the galaxies into thin walls. Imagine clearing a space on a crowded table. You push the papers aside. You push the cups to the edge. You make a clean spot in the center. The void does this to the stars. It demands room. It moves the heavy matter away. It creates a sanctuary of nothingness. The center is quiet. The noise is at the border. The emptiness grows. It claims the territory. The silence wins. This reveals that the most powerful force is often the one that clears the clutter, creating a vastened open space where nothing needs to happen. The coupling of dark energy with gravity determines the fate of the universe. If the balance shifts, the end changes. Imagine a tug of war between the giants. One pulls in. One pushes out. The rope is taut. The tension is immense. But the movement is slow. They are evenly matched for now. The future hangs on the strength of the grip. The universe waits for the winner. We live in the tension. We live on the tightrope. The outcome is not yet written. The balance holds the roof up. It keeps the walls standing. It prevents the change. In this sense, we see that our safety depends on a silent balance, a hidden tension that keeps the structure of our world from drifting apart. Eventually, the universe will reach a state of thermodynamic equilibrium. The temperature will be the same everywhere. The flow of energy will stop. Imagine a bath that has gone cold. The water is still. The steam is gone. The heat has left the room. There's no difference between the water and the air. Everything is gray. Everything is quiet. The work of the universe is finished. The engine turns off. The stars have used their fuel. The dark energy has spread the remnants. The cosmos enters a long, dreamless sleep. There's no more waking up. It is a reminder that the ultimate goal of all exertion is rest, a final peace where the effort ceases and the stillness becomes eternal. The density of dark energy is incredibly low, roughly equivalent to a few hydrogen atoms per cubic meter. There is a spirit in the machine. It is barely there. Imagine a vast, empty warehouse. A single grain of dust floats in the center. The room is mostly air. The substance is almost non-existent. Yet, this tiny presence dominates the cosmos. It adds up over the miles. It adds up over the light years. The accumulated weight of the openness is heavier than the stars. It is a power built from scarcity. It is a strength built from silence. The void does not need to be full to be strong. It only needs to be vast. It is a reminder that small, invisible things can hold the greatest power when they are given enough space to exist. The expansion of the universe implies a specific arrow of time. You cannot reverse the film. You cannot put the smoke back into the wood. Imagine a glass opening on a stone floor. The pieces fly apart. The sound echoes and fades. You cannot gather the pieces. You cannot unring the bell. The universe is opening in the slow motion. The pieces are drifting away. The room is getting larger. The past is a tight knot. The future is a loose thread. We move from the center to the edge. The direction is fixed. The flow is absolute. In this sense, we see that time is a journey that only goes one way, carrying us gently from the closeness of the beginning to the openness of the end. Dark energy does not seem to, as the universe expands. It maintains its strength. Imagine a song that never fades. You walk away from the speaker. You walk for miles, but the volume remains the same. The music is just as loud in the distance as it was at the source. The energy of the void is this constant song. It fills the new space instantly. It does not weaken with distance. It does not tire with time. The supply, the pressure is permanent. It is a background hum that never stops. It supports the sky from underneath. It ensures the dome never falls. And this reveals that there are forces in the world that do not fade, but remain constant companions no matter how far we travel. We live in a universe dominated by the dark sector. Ordinary matter is the minority. We are the exception to the rule. Imagine walking through a dense forest at night. You are the only person there. The trees are dark. The air is cold. The shadows stretch for miles. You are a small point of worth in a vast coldness. The universe is this forest. The stars are the small fires. The dark energy is the night itself. It surrounds us. It outnumbers us. We are tiny islands of solid ground in a sea of empty space. We are rare. We are precious. You could say that being small in a vast world makes our existence even more significant, a singular spark of life in the deepened, endless quiet. The universe was once opaque to light. It was a thick fog of plasma. Then it cooled and the light broke free. Dark energy now stretches that light. It pulls the fog apart. Imagine a curtain lifting on a dark stage. The heavy fabric rises. The dust motes dance in the beam. The view opens up. The space becomes clear. The light travels for billions of years without hitting anything. The path is open. The obstacles are removed. The universe has become a transparent window. We can see to the edge of time. The view is unobstructed. The clarity is absolute. It is a reminder that eventually the confusion lifts and we are left with a clear and open view of the truth. The vast majority of the universe is intergalactic space. It is a desert between the cities of galaxies. It is cold and dark. Imagine a road that goes through the wilderness. There are no houses. There are no lights. There's only the wind and the asphalt. The journey between the stars is this road. It is long and quiet. The dark energy rules this expanse. It widens the gap. It makes the desert larger. The traveler must be patient. The destination is far. The silence is the only company. The void is deep and indifferent. In this sense, we see that the spaces between things are just as important as the things themselves, defining the scale of the journey we must take. Future civilizations may not know that other galaxies exist. The expansion will hide them. The evidence will be faded. Imagine being born on a ship in the middle of the ocean. You have never seen land. You have never seen another ship. You believe the water is all there is. The horizon is empty. The history of the shore is lost. The future beings will look up and see only their own stars. They will think they are alone. They will think the universe is small and still. The truth of the expansion will be a secret. The past will be forgotten. The silence will be complete. This reveals that our understanding of the world is shaped by what we can see, and that some truths eventually drift beyond the reach of memory. The end of the universe is often described as a great cooling. The activity stops. The heat dissipates. The clock winds down. Imagine a winter that never ends. The snow falls softly. The ice thickens on the river. The bird stops singing. The world goes inside to sleep. The universe is preparing for this long winter. The energy is spreading out. The stars are dimming. The movement is slowing. It is a gentle process. It is not a mistake. It is a retirement. The cosmos has worked hard. It has built galaxies. It has created life. Now it rests. Its arrows into the cold. It is a reminder that after all the noise and the heat of living, there comes a time for a deep and perfect peace. And so, we drift to the end of our quiet journey through the invisible sea of dark energy. We have walked the edge of a cosmos that grows forever outward, pushing the stars gently apart into the velvet night. This gentle force, though vast and unknowable, offers a profound comfort. If the universe itself is breathing out, expanding into an infinite calm, then surely there is space enough for your worries to dissolve into the void. In a cosmos creating endless room for silence, you are free to simply be still. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. There is nothing left to solve tonight, nothing left to do. Just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, finally closing against the light. Let the gentle, expanding force of dark energy cradle your dreams in its endless quiet. Good night.